A single example when it comes to data, when it comes to how to merge data, because data itself is super stupid. And I give you one example because obviously what we know, companies like Facebook and Amazon and all these big companies, what they know is how to merge data. And just if you know how to merge data, I go along with my colleague of Newcastle, just then, data is gold. And the city like Vienna, actually, we do have data because we do own our infrastructure, but we are not there how to understand how to merge data. The private companies, they know how to merge data. What we do at the moment, for example, we have a very big joint venture with Siemens on a district in the city of Vienna. It's called Aspern Lakeside. It's our pilot area, new area, 30,000 people will be living there. And what we do is actually we work on the grid, we work on the building, we produce energy with artificial intelligence. Actually, we have business cases, many, many more stuff. The time is not enough to tell you actually what we're doing exactly there. But the thing is, we do merge data. We do merge data from a private company, Siemens, and we do merge data from the city of Vienna, infrastructure data, grid data. And you know what? When we signed the contract with Siemens 6 years ago, there were a couple of civil servants, and I remember there were 20 lawyers from Siemens, 20 well-educated lawyers coming from Boston and so ever. And we were losing this match. You're always losing this match because actually we signed contracts, tons of contracts. And years after, actually, the only winner of this public-private partnership is the private company. So if you ask me, yes, of course, go along and work with the private companies. You need them because they have the technique and the technology. Of course, joint ventures, public-private partnership is the future. And I strongly believe the merge of public infrastructure and private technology in order to bring our cities forward. This is the future. But hire lawyers. As a city, hire lawyers and do not start to program, to code IoT projects, because you need the private companies, but you need good lawyers because they do have good lawyers. And we learned that. And the second contract which we signed with Siemens was a different one, because then at that moment, we were there with 10 lawyers, good lawyers, well-paid lawyers. And we got the totally new joint venture. And this is one of the biggest advice, and this is important. It's not the job of the civil servant to understand artificial intelligence. It's the job of Cisco, but it's the job of the civil servant not to sell public infrastructure. A totally different example, citizens' power plants. What we do is actually, we know, well, of course, energy, renewable energy is very much important, but honestly, because I strongly believe this platform should be a platform, to be honest, we have a solar cataster. So we had a big project where we kind of scanned every single square meter of all of our roofs in the city of Vienna. So we know the potential of every square meter, the solar potential of every single square meter in our city. But don't get me wrong. Even so, we put a solar power plant on every single square meter of every single roof of the entire city of Vienna. Probably at the end of the day, we create 4% of our end energy consumption. So, sometimes you have to be honest. This is not the solution. A city of Vienna uses so much more energy that as a power plant actually can create. But nevertheless, we do it, but we do it because of different reasons. For example, we do it to offer participation to our citizens. So what we do is actually we created, with the help of some banks and some insurance companies, we created a very, very smart sale and lease back model. It's the citizens actually who do the investment for our power plants. We do offer the citizens to buy these solar power plants, And this is a very, 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 very smart project. Now, at the moment, we have 42 power plants already, and the last solar power plant was sold out within 8 minutes. So this is real participation for the citizens. It's easier and better to invest in a citizens power plant as to bring the money to the bank. And for us is, it's a kind of customer binding system. It's the output is a different one. It's not about making money, but it's about quality of life. So this is just a small example. Skip that. The same with e-mobility. Well, at the moment, actually, we are working on 1,000 charging stations in the city of Vienna, because e-mobility, sometimes it will be the future, and sometimes we strongly believe, well, there will be just cars allowed in the city with e-mobility cars. But it's not the city which is investing in the charging infrastructure. It's a very, very big crowdfunding project, where again, it's the citizens who pay this infrastructure, and they get back a very big voucher model. And what's happened actually, the citizens are involved again. They get the feeling they can kind of invest in transforming our city into a future-orientated smart city. And of course, actually, it connects somehow the city and the citizens. Very smart, very simple. It's not about the money. Of course, we would be able to afford 1,000 charging stations. Honestly, we would be able to afford 10,000 charging stations. But it's about being smart. It's about involving citizens. Let's keep participatory budgets. Well, actually, I think we heard something of Barcelona is doing in that case. I think Paris is actually very much in the lead. But again, 5% of the district budget, it's in the hand of our citizens. It's up to them what to do with this money. And it's not that less money, actually. So they are able to kind of create their streets new whatsoever. And honestly, well, this is not the big punch in order to transform our citizens, in order to transform our city. But it's a very small but very much important cornerstone, because it's about real participation. The project Alena mentioned right in the beginning is a bigger one, asking 20,000 young people in our citizens in order how we should actually transform our city. This is a big punch. And it works because we have political leadership in the back. It was the mayor itself who actually worked with the young people. And it's the mayor who said, well, these are now the answers of 22,000 people. I want to have this. I want to see these answers and questions of these 22,000 people in all my strategy papers in the future. So it's necessary for the mobility guys, for the energy guys, for whoever. But it's necessary because it's what our mayor said. Well, think about these 22,000 answers of these young kids. So actually, very small stuff, but I think in the summary, it's important. Working with old people, with young people, with people with handicaps is a very, 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 very big issue. 1/3 of the population of the city of Vienna is about 65 years and older. And what we see is, well, everything is about becoming digital. Everything is about becoming a sensor city, we heard today, But nevertheless, 1/3 of our citizens is probably not able to handle a smartphone. What to do with this 1/3 of the people, They're falling behind. And what we're doing is, well, we just don't know if they're really falling behind. What we do is actually, we really work together with these old people. What we do is, at the moment, we have invested in around 200 of households. They're actually 83 in this project, but another 120 in another project, which we started right now. So we are putting in households of old people all these sensors and telemedicine and all that stuff, which is on the market. But it's not just about, well, giving the old people this fancy stuff. It's about working with them what they really need. And the output is really fascinating, because at the end of the day, they don't need it. They don't want it. They need simple issues. They need an application. They need a smartphone with 3 applications, and that's it, you know. So the output, if you really work with those old people together, it's really, really fascinating, and I'm really happy to share the output of all these projects, because I think this is the future, working in the digital world, working with old people, because I think when we have a look, especially in European cities, this is a problem we all have together. You know, our cities are getting older, and we have to find a solution how to handle this problem. Well, when it comes to data, I mentioned anyway in the beginning my story with the lawyers. You know, obviously we try to be a very open government data city, so we do the same as Newcastle. I think this is important. Don't get me wrong. I'm not someone who is against it. Not at all. I mean, I'm the guy in the front when it comes to open government data, and that's my main job. But I'm just against nice to have stuff. Well, of course, just an example, because I think I really want to highlight that at the moment we are working on a digital twin of the entire city. Every single building, we are working on a digital twin. Every single street, we are working on a digital twin. That's a huge project. I love it. You see this car, actually. It's very much detailed. Up to 1 centimeter, we have a digital map of the entire city, up to 1 centimeter. So it's a way better than Google Maps. And I think at the moment, we still don't know for actually which project we will use it. But nevertheless, I think it's a very good starting point. Well, education, it's just the last project I want to mention, because actually that's what I personally did. COVID crisis, we heard it today, actually was a booster for some issues, especially when it comes to schools and pupils. There was a lack of digital know-how. We created a digital education strategy, and with many core points. But one is, of course, in the next 2 years, every single pupil in the city of Vienna will get an device paid by the city. And I think this is, again, just a good starting point. Just having a laptop, a fancy one, it's not the solution. You need to have teachers who are able to teach with that stuff. You need to have books which are work together with the digital world, but it's a good starting point. Well, of course, and that's actually how we work, always together, always involving citizens, involving the science area, involving the private companies. So actually, we changed our culture. I think the city of Vienna was always a city for the people, but nothing with the people. I think in the last years, this dramatically changed. We became a kind of, our working culture just changed. We are open, and we need that. And actually, I think this works quite well. So I think this was my 15 minutes. I hope there were some interesting points. Sorry for being rude in a couple of moments. I love Newcastle. I have been there. But sometimes I think the city of Vienna is just doing a different way. It's going a different way. Thank you very much.